Yo, we back. It's the Talk Nice podcast with your boy Beezo. I got my guy Nev with me. Nev, let him know what's going on with you.
Oh, yeah, what's going on, everybody? It's another week, dog days of the summer, so about to get this thing rocking.
Yeah, man. Slow summer in the football season coming in. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna do a little something different and talk about some social justice issues,
For sure.
some things that's going on, Black community. Uh, you know, basically we have the Karmelo Anthony case, and then we got the Nolan Wells case. Um, Two cases that are affecting, young African Americans as far as the justice system is concerned, and just not getting a fair shake when it comes to justice for families, justice for young Black African Americans in general. So I know you heard about both cases, right?
Yeah, of course. I'm
So
abreast of
just
both.
for the public, we just want to go start with the Carmelo Anthony case. It was basically in Frisco, Texas, which is coincidentally where I'm residing at the moment.
Okay.
So it was right in my backyard. Yeah, so Collin County, uh, it happened. Right, actually, Carmelo Anthony, his school was like 5 to 10 minutes away from me. So when I heard it, I was definitely interested and intrigued of what was going on because, living down here, I've been here 6 years now, so I ain't really running into no racial situations or incidents. Um, I think I was talking to you before. I had a Costco incident with myself and my family one time, but so I wasn't really too familiar with how the town was being run and the history. I didn't really do my history on it until this case kind of hit the
Right.
news, and I had to do some background check to see what was going on. So basically, with Carmelo Anthony, he was at a track meet. The way they had told the story, he went to the track meet, seen somebody he knew under a tent, went to the tent to go talk to the young gentleman, and then two brothers, twin brothers, I believe, Austin Metcalf was one of the brothers, came to the tent, basically asked him what he was doing there, conflicting reports. At the end of the day, Carmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf in the chest, and the young man passed away, unfortunately, from the wound. They went to trial. Um, Basically, Carmelo Anthony was found guilty of murder. He was sentenced to 35 years in prison. All he had to do 17 and a half of that before parole. And at the moment, they are doing an appeal process. So that's the gist of the story and of the case and the outcome. But for me, it's much deeper than that. Just looking at the trial. Did you watch the trial at all now?
No, I wasn't. I didn't watch the trial. I kind of kept up to date with like YouTube videos and shorts and things like that, but I didn't watch the trial.
Okay, so I mean, and my mistake, it wasn't even aired. The judge said he didn't want public opinion to sway the case, so he closed the court. He only allowed about 27 people in the court every day, so we had to get our information from those that was inside. There was a couple of YouTube bloggers that came down here and was here every day reporting on the case. So the problem I have is it seems like this boy was railroaded, in my opinion, by the judge, by his lawyer, by the DA, and by the jury. This trial started on a Thursday, I believe. It
Right.
ended the next Monday. Now, this is a murder trial. The the prosecution had had the students go up there, real murky testimony, nothing really concrete where everybody was on the same accord. The defense attorney didn't seem to push back on anything. And I'm telling you this as I'm listening to every day before um, other information came out after the trial, which is
Mm.
where once you hear the information after the trial, you'll see exactly why it seemed funny at the time when I was getting the feedback. So He didn't really push back on most of the students that told whatever events that happened, and then they relied on the video. Mind you, we never seen the video
Right, right.
um, other than who was in the courthouse. So once the trial was over, they convicted this boy, gave him 35 years. They released the video. The video was taken from, I want to say, 60 feet away, very blurry. Um, you can see certain images, but the way that the trial went, you would think that the video was super clear and it was apparent that Karmelo Anthony stabbed this boy.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, I don't think that he was given a fair trial because there was so many conflicting reports on it. It just kind of didn't sit well. And then information came out that the defense attorney had a gentleman's agreement not to bring up the twins' background if they wouldn't bring up Karmelo Anthony's background. Karmelo Anthony never took the stand in his own trial to give his account of what happened. And we've seen it so many times. What asking you, Nev, what do you think about the justice system and the way that African Americans are done dirty, basically, within the justice system?
All right. So not to sound any way, but African Americans are the justice system, as far as I've learned, as far as I've known and understood, the justice system is built against African Americans. And we can get into some hotep, we can get into all types of things and those type of conversations, but it feels as though it's built against or to work against African Americans. We rarely ever get any form of justice when it comes to crimes, when it comes to these things, or we don't get just due. I don't think that he really went through, or Karmelo, let's say his name, really went through due process. Not being able to testify on in his own trial, and it being literally a quick case. It just seems like he never got a chance. He never got a chance. His 35 years was inevitable. And it just feels like he never got a chance. And that's what a lot of black and African American people are around the country saying. And not just about them, but about their own people. You know, whether it be in New York, whether it be in New Jersey, whether it be in Texas, whether it be in California, it seems like a nationwide thing where we don't get the opportunity to plead our own case, to be who we're supposed to be in the justice system, or to prove our innocence in the justice system. Sorry. So it makes it a little bit rough. So, man, this one is tough. It's really tough, and it's not because I believe that he did anything wrong. It's up on the footage. When you look at the footage is unclear. It's not 4K, as the kids would say. It's not conclusive. There's nothing about it that screams at me that this kid is guilty. And there's nothing about it that screams intent, or it doesn't even scream. It doesn't even give any context to the story. It's just a video. You see it. You see what happens. You kind of see what happens. Not even really good. See what happens. But, man, it's just another. It just feels like another. It feels like another one of those losses that the African American community is taking, as, you know, especially when it comes to justice and everything like that. So, it's tough.
For me, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of how do you come to a guilty verdict when the students that testified, they were saying he pushed him with one hand and he pushed him with two hands. Then they say nobody's seen him stab him. Then I'm hearing Karmelo Anthony was sitting down the whole time, and then Austin Metcalf approached him and stood over him. And these are the things that was being said during the trial. And I'm like, where's the pushback of, okay, Karmelo Anthony, he hunted, he liked to hunt, he liked to do, you know, those things where it was a pocket knife. It wasn't a kitchen knife, wasn't a hunting knife. It was a pocket knife, 3.5 inches long. In Texas, you can have a pocket knife. You can have a knife that is less than up to 5.5 inches without it being illegal. So,
Right.
and the narrative was, well, what did he bring a knife to the track meet for? It was premeditated. Like he went there to start trouble. But I'm like, you can't say he went there to start trouble
So
when he said
let, let
he's
me
seen somebody.
let
Go
me
ahead.
ask you a quick question. I think you'd be more close to intimate knowledge when it comes to that because you lived there. Was it a situation where he and both of these twins had prior history? Was it a situation where they proved that to prove that it was premeditated? Because if they say it was premeditated, that means that he and them had maybe prior history, as you would say, beef or anything like that. Was it a situation where that occurred?
There was nothing presented in the case where they actually knew each other, or they even said that there was a previous situation. There was rumors about the twins being bullies, about their reputation not being great, which was never brought up. And it was kind of like questioning, like, so, okay, we talking about Karmelo Anthony, who's a 3.6 GPA, who's got accepted to Morehouse, who is doing the right thing. But I'm hearing all these things about the twins. And to me, I'm like, okay, the gentleman lost his life, but we still got to delve into, what kind of people were they? They made it seem like they were just protecting their school, or nobody can be under their tent because it's a school thing. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. And we never got a background of, okay, these two gentlemen crossed paths before. There was an issue, and Carmelo Anthony was prepared. They made it seem like he came to the track meet. It was raining. He seen somebody he knew. He went under the tent, was speaking to the gentleman. They came, asked him, who is this? Basic 17-year-old things. Words was exchanged. I'm not leaving. And Carmelo Anthony told him, don't come over here. Basically, it's going to be bad for you. Now, my thing is, throughout the kid's testimony, they keep saying Carmelo Anthony sat down and he had his hand in his bag, which I would think that's where the knife was.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I'm like, okay, somebody's antagonizing you and then they walk up on you. So if you open a knife in the bag and if you're sitting down and nobody has seen him stab him, when you pull somebody up, because mind you, the twins were like 6'1", 230. Carmelo is about 5'8", 5'9", and weighs less than them. If you pull somebody up from a sitting position and they have their hand inside their bag, which is across their chest,
Right.
there's a distinct probability that that knife could have stabbed him in the chest from him grabbing Carmelo up to pull him up to try to, rough him up. That was never um, talked about in the trial. The situation of how can nobody see him stab him, but y'all said this is what happened. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that it didn't happen because clearly that boy lost his life. But murder, where's murder one, that's like ridiculous. I can see manslaughter, and or you can see self-defense if he would have took the stand and told his side. And I'm still
Right.
confused on why he didn't take the stand. So
Was that?
it's just
I'm
go
trying to
ahead.
figure out if that was his choice.
Well, it was, yeah. The defense attorney never called him, but again, we didn't know this until we found out there was a gentleman's agreement between the DA and the defense attorney not to do that. So I'm like, how do you defend somebody to the best of your ability, but then stifle yourself and don't put them on the stand? Don't bring people up there to dispute what the testimony was from those kids. Don't rebuttal anything, or cross reference them to figure out who's lying, who's telling the truth. It was just like, okay, we put these guys up there, we're gonna say something, and then we close the case. It's not
Mm-hmm.
a fair shot to me. And these things happen all the time with us in the justice system, and it's fucked up because we just behind the eight ball consistently, and
Right.
it's just ridiculous. And I wanted to ask you, what do you think is the issue with African Americans in jury duty? Like, we never want to do jury duty, but we always want to make sure that somebody is getting a fair trial. Even with this case, people were saying, I can't see myself putting somebody, like, directly getting themselves out of jury duty by saying certain things that the DA will remove you from the jury duty pool.
Right.
Do you think that's a issue? Is that like something that's bred in us to sit there and say, well, we can't do it because we don't rock with police, we don't rock with law enforcement, so, or
Is
is it just a stubborn thing?
is a lot of the culture, and I laugh, not making light of the situation, but I laugh because as you say that, I literally just kind of squealed out of jury. Just squealed out of jury duty yesterday. So
Oh man.
I was supposed to be going to jury duty, and I went there, they called the names, and they got my name. It was just like, all right, we ain't calling nobody else. So I went home. But I think it's a thing where we prefer to get, we'd take the jury duty if it give us a day off and we get to stay home and whatnot. But it has a lot to do, and I don't know if I can correlate the two, but it has a lot to do with the whole stop snitching thing that we got in our culture, where we don't like to tell, or you don't like to point at the guilty party and say, hey, yo, he did it. And I remember somebody was telling me that it's like a really deep-seated thing. It's not just, oh, it's been a thing since the drug game, or it's been a thing since these murders and everything like that. It's been something since back in the day where you don't tell on another black man or another Negro, because if you tell a white man, they get in trouble, and it's like a Negro against Negro type thing. I wish I could elaborate more, but it was from a barber that I used to go to, and he was telling me, I am, and I'm a little bit, I'm gonna say this so the pod everybody gets it. I'm a little bit removed from, while I experience all of the African American prejudice, the African American idioms, everything. While I experience all of it, I'm a little bit removed from it because I'm a first generation Jamaican. Well, American. My parents are from Jamaica, so I wouldn't, not to say understand. I understand 100% because I've been profiled, I've been ran away from, I've had my situations. But when it comes to the deep-seated situations like slavery and X, Y, and Z, I'm not saying that I'm disconnected or I don't feel it. I understand it completely because I'm coming from my people are coming from a country where they were in slavery. So I get it. And I think that snitching thing, because it's even a thing back home in Jamaica. When you look, you don't want to tell that somebody could be murdered in the community and they're not pointing at anybody. And the murderer can live up and down the community for years. Where my mother comes from, my father's from a more urban area in Jamaica. My mother's from a country area. And I'll tell you a story real quick. So I think I was about maybe 16 or 17, right? I went to Jamaica and we were there for the entire summer. My mother used to pack us up and send us all the way to Jamaica for the summer because she was just like, listen, I'm tired of y'all. School's over. Y'all get out of here. So I used to be away from Brooklyn. I used to be away from New York, the tri-state area, period. So I used to be in Jamaica. My mom's lived in the country. We used to have to do things like tie out goats, move cows. I mean, bro, we was doing everything. I had a pen of rabbits. That is how crazy. And we showered in the waterfall that was literally right down the street from the house. So we used to walk up there with our towel and our clothes, go up there, shower, and come back. Anyway, there was a guy up at the top of the road. His name was Calvin. They used to call him Mas Calvin. Any Jamaicans listening would understand it. They call him Mas Calvin because everybody respects him. Once you get respect in Jamaica, they call you Mas. He was up at the top of the road, and everybody always used to say, yo, Mas Calvin killed his wife, married another lady, and killed her, and then he's on to number 3. So I was just like, wait a minute. Nobody's going to investigate this? Nobody going to, it becomes hearsay in the community, but it never goes to the authorities because no one believes in snitching. My mother does not believe in telling. We always used to get slapped if I said, yo, my brother did this, or my sister did it. No, no, you don't do that. My father the same way. So I think it's a cultural thing, just black culture in general, that we don't tell. And jury duty kind of goes against that. I didn't mean to be long-winded, but jury duty goes against that.
And I understand that. But to me, I'm like, I get it. if it's somebody from the neighborhood, if it's somebody you want to remove yourself because you want to protect yourself. But
Hmm.
where do we start to understand that you can help a young black man that you feel may be getting railroaded? Like in this situation, I would want to be on jury duty because, and not to say that I would ever do this, but my mindset would be I'm not saying guilty at all. I don't care what the evidence says. That's a black man. He's on trial for his life. I'm not saying guilty. So I'm going to get on this trial. So one, we can get a mistrial and they're going to have to do this all over again. Instead of shooting myself in the foot and telling the DA, I can't see myself putting another black man in prison for the rest of his life. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, but I
sometimes you
think
got
your
to play.
mentality would be not to say anything at all and then get there and then say that. I mean, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but you would get there, not say anything to anyone what your intentions are, but get there
Yeah.
and then do what you're supposed to do.
And then do what you're supposed to do. Like, white people do it all the time.
Absolutely.
They protect their own. I've seen plenty of, young white kids do heinous and egregious acts and get slaps on the wrist or, you
Hmm.
know, something the jury doesn't, is a hung jury or mistrial. We want to remove ourselves from something before we even get a chance to even be a positive for the situation. Not saying, and I understand some people may feel what I'm saying is still wrong, but in my opinion, I'm like, listen, the what the story is. You can't sit there because you're not plucking somebody from the neighborhood. A jury appears and say they don't know the story before they get to the jury pool.
That's
People
a fact.
know
Yeah.
what happened. People know and understand what the situation was. And
Right.
so from there, you would think in your mind, okay, this doesn't seem right. Something seems off here. Let me see if I can get on jury duty to even the odds because I don't. It's just ridiculous to me, especially and you wouldn't know in Collin County is white. It's white, and then it's Indians, and then it's others, and then you have black people. So we at the bottom of the totem pole. A lot of black people come here because they want to be close to the city, but not in the city, and have it's nice out here. So in my mind, I'm like, you're doing the young man a disservice by getting removed from the jury. And then they say, well, it's a jury of his peers. And I'm looking at the jury. I'm like, I don't see a black person up there. You can tell me a person of color, an Indian or an Asian. They're not black. They don't understand our plight. They don't understand what we went through. They don't
Yeah.
understand the situation of an angry white person walking up on you and you need to defend yourself and how that can be self-defense. So I'm going to keep my mouth shut, make it onto the jury, and then I'm going to give the jury hell. And we just going to be here. And it's supposed to be that way, but I see it all the time. I'm getting out of jury. I'm like, I get it for certain things, but we got to start being able to have some type of power in the legal system.
So,
And go ahead.
all right. So, right where I want you right there where you just stopped. What do you think black folks' power is in the legal system? Because what we say, we've been here for how long? 200 and something years. And it
Yeah.
seems as though we've ceded no power except for maybe getting jobs in law enforcement. I mean, so what is our?
So what you can do, and I know a lot of people, may not agree with me, but voting goes a long way. And what I mean by voting, I'm talking about on the lower levels of getting, because, as we come with the millennials and we come with this new generation, a lot of them have, stake in social justice and having their voices heard. A lot of them do things differently than the old guard. So you want to get young black men, women that are trying to make a difference and put them in positions where now they can move up in these ranks, depending wherever they go, whenever you start. If you start councilman, you start from the grassroots, and then you keep moving up and you keep putting people that look like us in position that are not scared to speak up and won't just toe the company line. Like a lot of people that are my age and older will toe the company line. They'll talk a lot, but when it's time to actually put foot
Mm-hmm.
to the pedal and put the
Yep. Right.
gas, they'll back off and say, "No, we just gonna run with what we running with." No, we need people that's gonna sit there and make a change, and you get them in the law, in law, and the judicial system, the clerks, and they keep moving up. The lawyers, young black lawyers. There's some young black lawyers here. They're not guilty boys down in Dallas. That are doing a great job around here. I watch their podcast, and things like that. Young black lawyers, giving them a chance and putting them on the side of the DA, the district attorney, not just defense lawyers. And then you move them up to the judges, and that's how you start getting power and you start getting a voice. But people don't want to do that. People don't want to vote. People think voting is, I'm just voting for the president, or I'm just voting for a senator
Right.
or Congress. No, there are lower levels of government that help locally, and then that goes to statewide, then that goes to federal. The more we put our people that look like us in these positions, the better off we can be. But we don't do it. We all, I'm gonna vote for what I know. I'm voting this way, or just petitioning things. Because these young people, they have no problem going out and boycotting something, or like I said, making their voice heard. We just got to stick to it and do it more than just entertainment, or because that's what they want us to be focused on, the nonsense. We need to focus on these social issues and putting people in position that can make a difference. People need to have education. The more you educate it, the more they go into these neighborhoods and talk about what can be done, and who all these people that we're talking about and touching the people. That's how you start the people to wake up and say, okay, I can get with this. I dig this. Let me get behind these people. See what happens from there.
Right.
So,
Well, I mean, yeah, I 100% agree with you. You ain't gonna get no kickback here, because I think it takes a lot. And like you say, your generation is kind of toe the line. My generation is kind of on the fence a little bit, because we have people who are active, but then you have those folks who follow their parents and they're like, hey man, it ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm, as they would say, boots to the ground. I like to, when I'm talking to young men, I deal with some young men in a program that I'm dealing with. That's in conjunction with the justice system here in Baltimore. So I deal with them on a daily basis. I try to speak, as, for lack of a better term, I try to speak life into them, and for them to make decisions that will affect not only them, but their families in general. So that is registering them to vote, and voting at a judiciary level, where you voting for judges in your community, where you're voting for the district attorney. You're voting for folks that are sitting in seats that you can directly go to, because we probably never get to the White House to go see the president, like you said, but you can almost access your district attorney to see, hey, what's this law? How does this affect me in X way? Or how does this affect me in Y way? So I deal with a lot of that. I try to let them know, and it's molding a generation to kind of forget about the what we know or what we do, and to kind of do something a little bit different. So I think honestly, I think that the Black and African American community is trending in a positive direction, is just to see what's going to happen next, and how these events like the Karmelo Anthony case, like of course, Nolan Wells case that we're about to talk about coming up, how these things are going to affect us, and what we're going to do to get active.
Yeah, because it needs to be spoken on, and then we need to do more than just speaking on it, especially, like you said, in the case of the Nolan Wells case, who's a young man that, was on a trip with his white friends. And from what they said, they all came, I guess they went to some island in Mississippi to, I guess, celebrate. And they all came back. He supposedly decided to stay back. And they never heard from him again. And then they found him washed up on the shore a couple days later. And this is still an open investigation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just weird things going on. The family was looking for his phone. The kids wouldn't give him the phone. They all the kids lawyered up soon as the situation became a national topic. All the kids lawyered up. One of the kids, I think, um, parent is in the judicial system as a judge or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're not giving out any statements. I've heard, I don't even know if it's true, or heard rumors where they didn't attend his funeral, um, and they're just giving the parents a hard time. The autopsy, he was missing his throat, what they say is a normal thing to do at an autopsy, but they wanted to get his body back. And right now, they still don't have an actual cause of death. We've seen this. I don't know if you remember. We've seen this before. The young lady who was at a pajama party with her white friends and wind up disappearing overnight at a pajama party. A black woman with her all white friends, and it's like, do you sit there and say you need to bring a second black person with you when
I
you hanging out
yo,
with your white friend?
I am. This is my opinion, and I know we got some awesome white people, Caucasian folk who listen to us. But my advice to any parent, any child, never be the only black person there. Never. If it's more than 3, don't be the only black person there, because it don't make any sense that these things keep on happening. We're at a point B where if your daughter, my son, are going anywhere with folks, you gonna be looking at them like, yo, all right, how many of them is it?
Yeah, questions always.
Like, how
Yeah.
many of them is it? Where are y'all going? Is there going to, and you can't even say, is there going to be another adult around? Because at this point, the adults are covering everything up as well. So the question now has to be, do we central? Because I mean, quiet is kept, and we're going to touch some really touchy subjects here. When you look at the Chinese folk, they don't send their kids with every and anybody. Indian
No.
folk don't send their kids with every and anybody. Spanish folk, they're kind of touch and go. I got it. My son has a friend who's literally one of his best friends. He's like 5. I mean, they're kindergartners. I'm not worried about them yet, but I've been literally trying to communicate with his mom just to get him to go to the playground with my son. And his mom won't respond. Like, she'll respond and she'll be like, no, 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 or what. But we have a thing where we're too free. We're allowing our kids and we're allowing ourselves to be the only black person in a group. And I don't want to sound racist or prejudiced, but it's becoming a trend that we have to now buck. If we got to hang with each other, and just do our own thing, then fine, because we're not dying when we hanging out with each other. It's that we're dying when we're hanging out with them. And I don't want to say it like that. It sounds crazy, but when you have one black person and there's more than 3 white people, you can almost guarantee something's going to go left.
Gonna happen. See, but the issue, and I understand exactly what you're saying. One, it's a couple things for me when it comes to the black community. One, we're too trusting of others that don't look like us. We
Right.
feel comfortable with people that don't look like us, where we have the stigma of, if it's too many black men or women in a group together, it becomes a menacing thing. We're scaring others, and also they put the tag on us that when we get together with our own, it's always trouble. Like, we can't be going somewhere without it being an issue that's going to happen. And I'm like, we need to educate our young kids and our, sons and daughters that that's not the case. We need to have community. We need to invest in our community. Other ethnicities do it. Indians invest in their community. Out here where I live, they have whole cul-de-sacs where these Indians have purchased the cul-de-sac and built homes. And guess what? They didn't call us to come get those homes. They called their cousins. They called their nephews, brothers and sisters. We building a home. We building a community for us. We don't do that. And it's part of, I want to say, conditioning, where we don't trust each other to do things together.
Mm.
But you have to look at it and say, do you feel comfortable and you really want to assimilate to where you want to be the safe black person? And them people don't care about you. And they don't care if a black body is going missing as long as their white friends and as long as their parents know their children are safe, then we're going to protect everybody that was there because you're an anomaly. You don't really belong here, but we accepted you because you were the token black that was in the group. And do we really look at it and say, if it was the opposite way around and it was 4 or 5 black guys and 1 white person missing, I guarantee you those 4 or 5 black guys would still be in the jailhouse getting interviewed, and if not, having an arrest warrant for the things that they did with against Nolan Wells.
Yeah,
and it's just not fair.
And that's what we have to realize as well. You know, it's not to say that you can't listen. I'm all for having a diverse group of friends. I'm all for having a diverse group of people around you. I'm all for working with and cultivating relationships with said people. However, when it comes to trusting folk, let's treat them the same way you treat them at the potluck when you're not eating their potato salad because it got raisins in it. Let's treat it like that. Like, oh, I'm not letting Chad bring mac and cheese to the potluck because I know what Chad gonna do. Stop sending your children where there are only people that won't protect them. They don't believe that your child's life is worth anything. So you losing them means nothing to him. Nothing to them.
But sorry, and I apologize.
I apologize. I'm so sorry that this happened. And they're doing it while hugging their own child. Yeah. Remember that. Listen to how that stings. I have 3 boys. I'd be damned. I scorch earth if anything like this ever happened. God forbid. However, you
feel the same way with my daughter.
You cannot put your child in that position because sometimes the child don't know better, but you got to teach them from home. And I'm not being Umar. I'm not being super racist. I'm just being understanding of the climate that we live in. And hey, it is what it is. We can't control it. We're not making up the story. The story is what it is. It was a bunch of white kids and a black kid. And then the different stories that you hear coming out of it makes it seem even worse because they think that releasing stories or leaking things out is making it seem better. No, it makes it worse. Oh, he was dealing with one of the guy's girlfriends. Makes it worse. Oh, he was about to fight this guy and it was an argument. It makes it worse. Then you can't find the phone. That makes it worse. He washed up on the shore. That makes it worse because why no one went to find him? If that's your friend, why did no one go to find him? Why did no one turn his phone into his parents when the time was right? Why did everybody lawyer up? Who is this girl? Why is she not being interviewed? Why are none of the kids locked up? If it, like you said, if it was the black community and it was a bunch of black people and a white child went missing, no matter what part of the totem pole that white child came from, every last one of those black kids would have been in jail until somebody squealed.
Yeah, it'd have been lined up and they would have put pressure on them till somebody said something, or they would have coerced them into saying something and somebody would have took the fall for this because it's too much. Can't tell me if we was hanging out and I know we came with 5 people and we get back on that boat and it's only 4 people, and even if my man say, you know what, I'm staying back. I met a girl. We gonna hang out. I'm gonna see y'all in the morning. Why his phone not with him? You're gonna take your phone with you if you leaving your people, so that way you can get in touch if anything happened. You're not gonna leave your phone on the boat. I don't care if you get off the boat and forget it. You're gonna sit there. I gotta get my phone. Let me get your phone. Let me call somebody. Tell them I left my phone on the boat. Bring that back to me.
And that's the worst thing. Not this generation with the phones. Not this generation.
You can't get a phone out of a kid's hand at all these days. So you telling me, and then his family said he's consistently on social media platforms. He does. He's very present on TikTok. You telling me he's gonna stay behind and not make a video about whatever's about to go down? If he's meeting somebody, if he's still on the island, you can't. It's second nature for them to open their phone and start recording and posting. So that is a red flag. You guys come back to the island. Nobody says anything about, oh, he missing. Let me call his parents. Let them know he's supposed to be back at a certain time. He never came back. We going to look for him. You lawyer up, like you said. The parents try to get the phone and they hiding it here, there, and the third, where the father has to get a little bit, hostile to get the phone back. It's just too much. It seems like whatever
Cover up.
they said happened did not happen. And if this was, again, I'm going to reiterate it, if this was 4 to 5 black guys and 1 white boy, all hell would have been let loose and somebody would have had to pay for it already. And this is where
Absolutely.
we have to understand, as black people, our lives don't mean anything to the two other races. They just don't look at us as valuable individuals. And this is not everybody, but
Hold on.
for
Let
majority,
me ping you right there. They don't look at us as anything if we aren't entertainers.
yeah,
And that goes to athletes, that goes to singers, rappers, artists, period, DJs, actors. If we're not entertaining, we kind of don't matter.
we don't matter. We don't exist. It's too bad. And you get an apology and then they move on with their life. And we're going to put our energy in protecting our own. And that's what we have to understand. They're always going to protect their own. We have to protect our own. And that comes from raising people to have awareness, educating them on it's cool to be cool with other races, but you have to understand they are not going to put you first. I don't care if you grew up in these neighborhoods and you assimilated to how they are. They do not look at you as an equal. And it's just something you have to keep in the back of your mind, that you have to make sure that you are covered. And if that means bringing somebody with you or just saying, yo, I'll meet y'all there, I'm coming with some other people. That's with anything. Like, it's just it's not a good thing because it happens too much. And these people are always protected by something. And this goes back to what you said about having certain type of cachet or power. There's somebody in the group whose parent is in the judicial system as government ties. So you already know there's pull, there's cachet there to get things covered up or to get things not to be presented in a proper manner or delayed. We don't have that. Like, once we get jammed up, we jammed up. We ain't got nobody to sit there
That's a fact.
try to cover us at all. So, but hopefully for that gentleman, Nolan Wells, God rest his soul. Hopefully he gets the justice he deserves, and they don't close this investigation, and they continue to investigate these people. If they have to get independent investigators to come in outside of whatever the local PD or state police are doing, because if it's, like I said, if it's government ties and these parents are involved there, then we want to try to remove them out of the equation completely to get
Right.
unbiased investigation going, because I want to see this end the right way. If he accidentally drowned, as they say, and they can prove it, but if there was foul play, then somebody has to pay for that.
Justice needs to be served. If it was foul play,
And I'm leaning towards foul play.
Absolutely.
Regardless what anybody say, I'm looking at this case, I'm leaning towards something happened, and those boys, and if it was girls, they know what happened to Nolan Wells, and they need to speak up as soon as possible.
Right. So I just like you said, I'm leaning towards foul play because no one acts like that in the aftermath of anything. If you don't, as children we scramble to cover things up, but in the way that they did it, it was too, for lack of a better term, clean, too
orchestrated,
too way too clean in the way that they just, hey, get a lawyer, get this, nobody's talking. It was too clean.
Yeah, somebody knows something, and they need to go ahead and get that out, and give that boy the justice he deserves, because I honestly believe somebody did something to him, unfortunately. Yeah. But always be safe, be knowledgeable. If you are going out with any group of friends, try to stay together. Do not veer off. And if there's any issues, let somebody know. There's been an issue here. We had an argument. Things went left. That way, somebody knows what
What's
the
going
actual
on?
events are going on when you are away from family. So these things can be documented with the family and say, listen, such and such called me. He said he had an argument with X, Y, and Z. Doesn't feel comfortable. He want to get out of there, or it's just good to do that. Cover all your bases is what I'm saying for anybody that does anything and you away from family and away from people that love you, and you with people, because you never know, people gonna cover their own. Like they say,
Always.
CYA, cover your ass. People gonna cover their ass when it comes to, because it's you over them. So always be covered. And so,
And from
you were
me, from my
talking.
standpoint,
Go ahead.
from my standpoint, just I think that we as a community need to just know who we sending our kids with. Don't be as trusting going forward. These issues are becoming way too prevalent, too consistent. They're happening too often. If your child is the only black child, don't do it. And it's sad to say it like that, but don't do it. Just tell them they can't go. They're going to be mad at you for a weekend, but they're going to be alive for the rest of their life, God willing. You understand? So they'll be alive to be mad at you. So, hey, that's just my little piece of that.
You're absolutely right. And when it comes to entertainers, we were talking about off, the pod about I think the entertainer's name is David.
Yeah.
And you know more about this than me. If you want to go ahead and take that and, let the people know what's going on with that.
Okay, so I'm gonna say I'm a little bit more of an expert than B with this one, and this is kind of wild. And I don't know how much you read up. How much did you get through?
I listened to the text messages of him sending it to the underage girl and about her being pregnant. And I know the backstory about the body being found in his Tesla. But I'm kind of vague on anything in between that. I just heard the text messages that he had sent about her being pregnant and getting rid of it. And I think him taking her moving, and it was alarming to me because she was 14 at the time. And I think he was over
He was 19.
21.
No, he's 19. 19.
He was 19. Okay. See, and so that was already alarming to me. A 19-year-old telling a 14-year-old, whatever she was, 14, 13, that she's pregnant by him and he wants to get rid of it and they could move to a different country. But I don't know the gist of the actual case. So if you could fill me in on that.
Okay, so basically it's gone through preliminary hearings. The preliminary hearings are done. They're going to trial. There's no trial date set so far. But they have found enough evidence that is beyond a reasonable doubt that they can give him the death penalty or life in jail. With everything I believe that they found as of recently, I believe he either gets one of the two. There's no way he gets off. I mean, absolutely no way this kid gets off. Everything, all the evidence, all the found evidence, everything that they found for this guy lines up with exactly how it would play out. And he hasn't said anything. There's no one came out and said anything. And there's no one that has any witness or anybody that's came out and testified whether against him or for him. I know it's guilty, innocent until proven guilty. I think this one is guilty until proven innocent.
So
I'm not. Huh?
So is that damning? The evidence that they have, is that damning on him?
Yeah. She was caught in a Tesla. He allegedly, he sawed her up. And everybody's trigger warning here. Let me just say that before we even get any further. Trigger warning. He basically cut her up in his garage. The blood splattered everywhere, but he put up like this blue pool. And when he was cutting her, he must have cut through, and then the blue thing got into her body. They found those things in her body. They found the pieces of the pool in her body. Along with him the things that he was ordering to the house, the incinerator, the 2 saws, he ordered those things under a different name. I think it was Travion Davis. I'm not entirely sure, but there was another pseudonym name that he ordered things under, but he ordered all of those things successively after. So I know you said you read the text. The last text that she sent to him was, "I'm outside. Open the door." He said it's open. But then he turned around 21 minutes later and said, "Hey, I didn't see you come through the door. Where are you? Don't play with me. Why? I'm going to come find you." And everyone is saying that that's for the cover up. Now, when you look prior to that, she came out and it was kind of incomplete, because when you get the last few texts that came from the last day of the preliminaries, you find out that she was kind of going crazy. She had found out that he was dating a of age young lady, and she was getting real upset about it. And she was telling him that she was going to do things to him. She was going to cut his, dick off and do all types of wild shit to him. But a lot of people were saying that, yo, what you expect from a child that you groomed for since she was 11 years old. And when you see him and you see the pictures of when they started talking, I personally don't know how you mistake an 11-year-old for somebody above age. I don't know how you mistake a 14-year-old for somebody who's above age, especially in her case. You can't really say, because I know, listen, and this is going to sound crazy, but I know a lot of black girls that I even grew up with. Maybe you grew up with some who look older than what they really are.
Yeah.
But I don't think that this is the case. If you see that little girl, man, she don't look anything.
Little girl.
Yeah,
I seen the image. She looks like a little girl, and I think I think he's guilty. And be honest with you, even though I didn't follow the case when I first heard it, when they said that she was found in the trunk of a Tesla, I said, this boy guilty. I'm not sure what's taking them so long to connect him to the case, because who has access to your Tesla to stuff a whole chopped up body in the trunk of your Tesla and you not know for however long it was that there's a body in your Tesla? So I automatically was like, whatever they have to do to connect the dots for this gentleman.
They got him on camera driving it the day after she was allegedly murdered.
Yeah, so
all the way to another county.
Yeah, he's finished on that. And I don't have no sympathy for predators, pedophiles. I don't have any sympathy, and I believe that's exactly what he is. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew her age. I don't buy that, and that is something that is prevalent in the entertainment industry, and it's been that since I was a teenager, being in school and seeing, the older drug dealers or the older entertainers parked outside of high school to pick up these young girls.
You know what's funny is I thought that was I thought that was an our generation thing. I didn't know, and I want you to tell me what was going on, but I thought that was our generation, because I graduated high school in 2008. So you can imagine from 2000 to about 2008, I was in the I know it now era of my life. So I'm looking at these things. I remember, and quiet as kept, I used to like this girl. And I'm not going to mention her name, but I used to like this girl. And every time you would think you got a chance with her, she would end up with some guy outside with a car. I remember he had a Acura RSX or something like that, and he was going crazy. And I mean, he would drop her off at school, and he would pick her up from school. And every time you think you got a chance with she was just like, nah, my boyfriend outside or whatever. And this dude I was barefaced. He had a whole goatee. You know what I mean? So it was just.
Yeah, if it was happening, it was happening in the 90s. When I was in school, it just was. Girls looked and said the guys was outside with the car. They had the jewelry. It was either, like I said, drug dealers, entertainers, picking up young girls. And this is a tradition. And I hate to say tradition, but this is what it is. And in the black community, even though the young woman is not black, but with entertainers, it's always been, they look at young girls because they feel like they can mold them. They feel like they can control them. They want a young mind to control and mold. And then when things go left, you get where either they do something that shouldn't be done, or they get somebody else to do it. And with this young man, I just believe he knew what he was getting into, and then whatever the situation was, when she got there, it went left, and he committed a crime that he's gonna have to pay for. But yeah, what you just told me with the story with the young girl that you like, I've seen it play out multiple times. Dudes want to talk to a girl in the school, and she like, nah, my boyfriend outside. He's standing outside in the car with the car to pick her up, and I'm like, yeah, dude, not in high school, dude, way older than you, and it just was a normal thing where you didn't say nothing. Like my era, a lot of things was happening where you didn't say nothing, like domestic violence, that grooming thing, anything like that. It was just
you ain't saying anything.
mind your business, and it just unfortunately, this is why I love the new generation where they don't let these things slide and they speak up on these things. And
oh yeah, for sure.
you know, so this gentleman, from what I didn't even, I listened to the text messages, but it was disgusting me out and weirding me out, and I'm like, yeah, he really was on some nonsense. And then he unalived, and I believe he unalived this girl, and then disposed of her body.
So I got a question for you. How much do you blame her parents for this? Or do you see her parents as culpable in any of this at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just from what you know.
Absolutely. And you saying that, I read something where the parents okayed her to be going overseas with him, and the parents knew his family. So when you allow that, because, and I know parents that in their mind thinking if she gets attached to him, that's money. When you are led by monetary greed, things like this happen. When you allow your children to be groomed by somebody, this is the whole, R. Kelly thing. Them parents knew what was going on with them young girls going to see R. Kelly. There's no way you can't tell me you didn't see something, you didn't know, and you bringing your child there because in your mind you're like, if she goes here, we can get X amount of dollars and we set. Just deal with it, and then you ain't got to deal with it after we get our money. We can move away. It don't work that way. You are damaging these young women. It's disgusting, and I think parents need to be held accountable and put in prison too. If you are knowledgeable of what's going on with your child, that's your child. If it's a mother, that child came from you. It's a father, you helped create that child. You're supposed to protect your child.
That's a fact.
From any and everything. And when you get greedy and you lose your morals and values, then you need to be put in prison right along with the person that violated them. And, you need to be violated when you get to prison, because that's just, I can't stand for that. Like, nah.
And that's true. And that's true. I think while I understand some of the defense was saying that, I think it's defense, but the prosecutors were saying that the parents really aren't culpable because she was running away, is proven by the everything that was going on. I think as well, they had said that her mom had started sleeping in her room in the same bed as her to keep her from going. And then they also said that the father neither of the parents speak English. And the letter that she needed to go to London was notarized by David's mom. So if it is that the parents didn't have anything to do with this, or they didn't know what was going on, I can see it. And if it's that she got a notarized letter that was signed and it wasn't by her parents and it was notarized by David's mom, I 100% believe that she is the next person that should be investigated, because I think she kind of knew what was going on with David and the young lady to start with. Because
about David's mother?
Yeah, David's mother. I think she knew. I 100% think she knew. I don't think that she was out of the loop. I think that she knew, because when he said, "Oh, she's pregnant and my mom told me to ask you if it was mine," or and "Oh, what does your mom think about us?" and "Oh, she thinks that we're going to have sex the first time I see you." Like, and then she went down to the worst part about all this is that she went to Texas to visit the family with David.
Mm. Yeah, she needs help. She needs to be held responsible. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So she should be the next person brought up on charges because that's a minor. So yeah, anybody that's involved in the corruption of a minor needs to be held to the same standard and same charges, regardless if you violated them or not. Just having the
Mm-hmm.
knowledge and allowing it, you deserve whatever charges the person that actually did it gets. You deserve to do the same thing, get the same charges put against you, and be put on trial and convicted of the same charges, in my opinion. So, because that's the worst thing, that rape, sodomy, pedophilia, all of that. Yeah, that is the worst thing. And I have no sympathy for anybody that allows that and tolerates that. So if they can do that and get charges on his mother, so be it. Then she needs to face the same charges. So,
A fact. That's for sure. And well, listen, for all that, all the best to the family of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. We're gonna say her name just so that she get the justice that she deserves. She was young. She didn't deserve that, no matter what part she played in it. She never deserved that.
absolutely not. And we want to say rest in peace to Nolan Wells. We want to make sure that he gets the justice he deserves. We want to say keep your head up to Karmelo Anthony. We pray and hope that the appeal process goes the proper way and he either gets a new trial or he gets self-defense. And they, remove these charges that he got sentenced to, and so they can go ahead and vacate that 35-year sentence he got. Because I believe all three of these people deserve justice the right way. We do appreciate y'all staying with us for this hour. And hopefully we said some things that resonated with you. Hopefully we said some things that, sparked the interest that you can leave a comment. Once you listen to the podcast, let us know what you think. We love all type of feedback, especially when it comes to these important topics that we speak on and touch on.
Yeah.
So we want, let y'all know your voices matter to us as well. But with that being said, we about to get up out of here. Once again, we thank y'all. Please hit the QR code on the podcast for my Substack, Beezo122, Talk Nice with Beezo Substack. Go read my articles, leave comments there, subscribe. I'm always trying to give some riveting insight and intellect on sports and other topics intertwined. And like we always say, follow us on Twitter, _BEEZO__. Nev, go ahead and give him your information before we get out of here as well.
Yeah, follow me at Nevin S. Palmer at, well, no, it's no at, it's just at Nevin S. Palmer. Just follow me over there and definitely check out that Substack that Beezo got in the QR code. It's crazy. One of the great, listen, I ain't glazing, but he one of the best writers I know. So y'all, please check that out and continue checking us out. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all of that. Everything. Share with your mom, share with your cousin, share with your auntie, share with the babies, share with everybody, the kindergarten classroom. I don't care who it is. Just share with them. And let's get this thing going to the moon.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, Nev. Like, share, and subscribe, people. Like, share, and subscribe. Let us know what you think about the episode. And anything that you like, anything you didn't like, leave a comment. We're going to talk to y'all next week. We'll be back. We got some more sports things to get off our chest. So, we definitely be here every week. And we thank y'all, and we out.